Hey, beautiful souls, beautiful sunshine here with the R Holistic Healer, aka Sonya B. Welcome. This is Reiki Time with Sonya B. Of course, today we'll be talking about the solar plexus. It is the color yellow. I am wearing the color yellow to represent the solar plexus. As I explained to you guys before, we have something that is called a energy center field, which is located from right here at the very top of your head. Well, of course, this is my hair, but the very top of your head, in the center of your head, that goes all the way down to the very base part of your spine. In other words, where your spine stops at. That is called your energy center field. It is also called your meridian as well, too. So within those particular areas that I just described, there are 7 different chakras that are major chakras that are within our energy center field that are very important, that governs a lot of different things that are like, it has a lot of different nerves that are attached to it. And, and sometimes it can create blockages along the way, depends on where we experience different things in our lives. So anyway, we're going to get into the discussion of talking about characteristics of when they're in balance, as well as characteristics when they're out of balance, as well as associated diseases that are tied to those, possibly tied to those different chakras. Just because it's tied to it does not necessarily mean that everybody will experience every little thing that I just said, but just people may have 1 or 2 of those issues out of that out of the imbalances. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have to have all, but basically it's just pinpointing different things like that show up in people's lives, for illnesses or sicknesses, and it could be sometimes tied back to that as well too, along with other issues that are tied to like emotional or physical issues as well too. So keep that in mind. And a lot of these energies could be tied to past life energies that is imprinted into your DNA as well too. That is coming up now, that or has been coming up within this lifetime, that it's coming up in order to basically heal the situation. So anyway, and then I'm gonna show you or tell you ways of how you can basically try to bring this back into balance. There's lots of different ways to try to bring it back into balance. Okay, so anyway, let's get into the discussion. So anyway, as I said, the solar plexus is the color yellow. This is a very beautiful color. It really is. It looks very goddess-like. So I just figured I would add the flowers to it. But anyway, so the solar plexus, it is located just above your navel, your belly button. Okay, so just imagine above your belly button. So it is responsible for your spiritual growth, your warrior energy, your personal willpower, your self-esteem. All of these things are tied to that particular chakra. So if anytime you're experiencing, not feeling like, the things that I just described, usually that's just possibly a sign that, it could be most likely in need of some TLC. Let me say that. Okay, so most people experience with this particular chakra, sometimes, not all the time, but some people usually experience some sort of blockages because, again, as I said before, it's tied back to self-esteem, how you feel about yourself. It's tied back to self-worth. It's tied back to the warrior-like spirit. It is definitely most tied to your spiritual growth, should I say. It's like being one with the divine. So if you find yourself not really being connected to God or spirit, then usually that's an indication of a sign that this particular chakra is most likely blocked. If you're having a hard time to, just having that relationship with God. So anyway, but let's get into the quick discussion. So how to know if how do you know when your chakras are balanced? You know that they are balanced because you respect yourself. You're self-motivated. I'm sorry, I got my notes here, y'all, so I don't make sure I repeat myself. You respect yourself. You're self-motivated. You have self-confidence. You also are strong in your divine purpose is in life. In other words, like you just have this strong sense of knowing what it is that you're supposed to do in life. And it's like when somebody try to talk you out of that, it's like, no. I cannot do that. I cannot go that way. That's not my route. So you're very confident in what it is that, you should be doing in life. You have inner balance. In other words, you're balanced. You're not doing too much of this and you're not doing too much of that, or because there's something called an overactive chakra as well too. So, sometimes we can be I give you an example of an overactive chakra. We can be so, as they would say, so holy. As an example, let me use this one because I said it's tied back to God, source, spirit, in the relationship that you have with the divine. You're one with the divine, should I say. So let's just say that sometimes people who are in church, you know how they say the saying of sometimes we can be so what is it? So spiritual that we're no earthly good, in other words. So, it's like that's when the judgment of others come in, and we're just overdoing it. We're just overdoing it, should I say. But anyway, so basically you have clear goals, you're motivated, you know what you set your intentions on, and you have basically the energy that you need in order to obtain and achieve those goals that you have set for yourself. Without a shadow of a doubt, you're determined to achieve those goals. So anyway, really quick, how to know when your chakras are out of balance. So when they're out of balance, you basically, I see so many people that have this issue. You basically experience obstacles in your life. And I'm not saying that once upon a time I did not experience it, or, not saying that they don't come up, because we're always constantly healing, even the healers, should I say. But I say all that to say, when you have a lot of obstacles in your life, it just seems like one thing after another, after another, after another. That's an indication of that the chakra is out of balance. It's like you're not going into the right direction is what I'm hearing Spirit say. Like when you have the obstacles, is because you're off course. You're not heading in the right direction. You're not aligned with your soul, in the direction that your soul wants you to go in. So another characteristic of it being out of balance is low self-esteem. So we all know what low self-esteem is. But anyway, so if you find yourself experiencing woe is me, or, this happened to me, or that happens to me, or nothing good happens to me in life, or, all those different things plays a part in it too. When we experience shame about maybe something we may have done, or we dread of making a particular choice in life because maybe it didn't turn out the way that we expected it to turn out, because we made a conscious choice. And life is full of choices. Sometimes it's important to get in tune to your intuition, so that way you know whether to go left or go right, because our higher self is always there to lead us and guide us. We just got to get in a quiet place in order to hear. So in other words, we're constantly always making choices, but when we in tune with our intuition, we're basically in tune to which direction that our soul wants to lead us in, which is for our highest and greatest good. And when we are not in tune with that intuition, basically we're kind of going off out being in our head too much, in other words. So when we're in our head too much, it causes us to make the wrong decisions, and therefore that's where the obstacles come in at. Just constant not being aware of the choice. Well, some people are aware of the choices because they get this gut feeling of telling them that they shouldn't do something, but they go and do it anyway, when, God or their higher selves or whoever, might have to have, no, don't do that. But, sometimes we take it upon ourselves, but because we have free will, and God will allow us to make certain choices, so that way, hopefully, not to make that choice again. And sometimes people do find themselves on the hamster wheel of repeating the same cycles over and over again until they actually learn to make a different choice. So anyway, that's where dread comes in at, being on that hamster wheel. You get tired of going through the same old cycle. People experience disappointment. They feel powerless. They feel like, oh my God, like people are walking all over me, or people taking from me, people doing this to me, people doing that to me. So if you have that mentality, usually that's a clear indication that chakra is usually blocked, should I say. As well as... Well, I talked about the dread, and then sometimes we end this woe is me, as I said before, to the point of what's the use of trying? Like, why am I even trying? And then there's also, there's also signs of being greed, should I say, just being greed. Everything is about money. And not saying that we don't need money to live. We do need money to live. God says be in the world, not of the world. So in other words, we need money to live, and He's putting us here for this purpose. Not saying that we should be, again, poor and homeless. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that in all that we do, we should keep God first. So basically, if you're running and chasing after money. In a sense, it should be God first, and then whatever it is that God had placed upon your heart to go and achieve, it's like that's in the second forefront. And then it's like God is gonna, once you're in complete alignment of God's will for your life, it's almost like that's when the money comes. You don't need to chase the money. The money is chasing you, in other words. So that is pretty much it for the out of balance. There could be other things. There are other things, but those are just a few. So now I'm just going to basically talk about, and let me let you guys know this too as well. I am not a medical doctor. I am a Reiki practitioner. I am also a Reiki master teacher. I am also, the information that I am referring to is based off of Eastern philosophy. In other words, they believe in treating the mind, body, soul, and spirit all as one, rather than just treating whatever particular symptom that may be taking place. Again, I am not a medical doctor. This does not take place of your medical health care. Usually these are just some things to let you be aware of, to know when you're experiencing different things in your life, especially different ailments and so on and so on, of when these things are out of balance. That's just pretty much what I'm trying to let you know. But basically, I'm a Reiki master teacher and a Reiki practitioner, as I stated before. I do help balance the chakras through Reiki session. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this information is not based off of Western medicine or philosophy. It is based off Eastern, again, where they believe in treating the mind, body, soul, and spirit, in order to bring it back into alignment. But anyway, so some of the associated diseases, again, this does not mean that because this particular chakra is out of balance, does not necessarily mean that one is going to experience each and every one of these diseases, or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that, nor am I manifesting that in anybody's life. But what I am saying is, usually if it's a blocked chakra, it is usually associated with things like your liver, your gallbladder. The illnesses are associated with that, as well as having problems with your digestive system, as well as having food allergies, signs of depression, low resistance to disease, as well as gas and diabetes. So those are some things, like if one experienced one of those things, it could be tied back to most likely the solar plexus. Anyway, so basically, what you can do in order to help bring this, especially if you're not, seeing a Reiki, if you're not receiving a Reiki treatment, should I say, and you're wanting to do this on your own, you can basically, the way to try to balance this is basically to love yourself right where you are in the moment. If you are somebody who is, let's just say, if you are somebody who is, let's just say, needing some help or needing some assistance. Let's just say if you're needing to get food from a food bank, or if you're needing to accept, let's just say, and I'm just saying these because they seem like they're, to people, it would be like the lowest of the low, like hitting rock bottom. So I say all that to say, if you're receiving like, food assistance, like I said, food assistance and needing shelter or whatever the case may be, it's almost like accepting yourself right where you're at, just loving yourself. And you accepting yourself right where you're at is not about you staying there where you at, but it's just a matter of saying, you know what? I don't have a home, or I need assistance with someone helping me to feed myself, or I need this, or I need that at that particular moment. But I still love myself and I still accept myself, and I am no less than anybody else, in other words. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like accepting yourself and having the confidence to know that you still are somebody, even in the process of like hitting rock bottom, in the sense, like, just because you hit rock bottom does not mean, as people would say, go, you're dirt or you're trash. Not saying that I'm calling anybody that, but society has tend to look down on people who are homeless or need a hand up or need a hand out or need some sort of assistance as somebody who is unworthy, should I say. So it doesn't matter what society may say. If you find yourself experiencing that situation, basically, you know, when you come back to, when you completely know that it's in balance, if you hit rock bottom like that, but you're still trusting and knowing that you are somebody, and knowing like, hey, this is where I'm at right now, but I'm not going to stay there, and I won't stay there, and I know that I'm not destined for this. This is just where I'm at right now. In other words, self-acceptance. So anyway, again, it's not saying that that's where you're going to be at. It's just, in other words, it's just a test, in other words, from the universe. So, but anyway, something else you can do too, you can look up at the sun each and every morning and let the light hit your eyes in the process of doing this. Learning to tune into and listen to your gut instincts. Learn to do mirror work, some mirror work. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, you know what? I am somebody. I may not have a home. I may not have a car. I may not have this, or I might not have that, but I still am somebody. So when you can do that in the midst of hitting rock bottom, oh, you good. But, so again, it's about accepting yourself and loving yourself. This is something that came from Lois Hayes. But anyway, so with that being said, this is all for that I'm going to talk about today in regards to the solar plex. So I hope that information was helpful. And remember, this information, excuse me, this is not a diagnosis. This is just basically me letting you know associated disease and illnesses that are tied to each and every one of these different chakras. You know, for each and every different chakra, I'm gonna have to buy me a chart and put it up so you guys can see it. As I'm doing it, I can point to it at the same time. But anyway, so I hope that was helpful. And then next week, we'll be talking about the heart chakra. That one is so important for so many people during this time. As our planet is trying to heal, we're all trying to evolve, we're all trying to come back into a place of unconditional love. And with all that being said, I'm excited to see what energy is gonna be with me when I present that information. So anyway, so you guys stay blessed, and thank you so much for joining me for Reiki Time with Sonya B. Until the next time, again, join me next week for the heart chakra. I think a lot of you could benefit from that, and it is the color green. So anyway, stay blessed. Stay prayed up, stay vigilant, as well as remember to always keep God first. And I say namaste and peace and blessings. Bye.